Zain, do you know why you are in jail? I know, 'cause I stabbed an asshole with a knife. Then why are you standing here today? I want to sue my parents for giving birth to me. It's hard to imagine that these words comes from a 12-year-old boy. What would make him suing his own parents? His name is Zain, living in the slum of Lebanon. Only the bottom of society lives here. Many of them are refugees or unregistered. Zain's family is one of them, even though the family can't afford having children. But Zain's parents are very keen on giving birth. The small room is filled with crying, yelling, and complaining all the time. Ever since he can remember, Zain has begun to bear the burden of supporting the family. He has to go to work every day to offset the rent. The landlord's son likes Zain's sister. He would always ask him to bring instant noodles and herbs to her. But Zain throws those things away every time, telling his sister not to be deceived by this scumbag. Zain cherishes his sister very much. In this family, they rely on each other. When not working, Zain would go to sell homemade drinks, then hand over all the income to his parents. Zain also has to go to trick for medicine, which can make tramadol water. This way, his brother who is in prison can make some extra money. Tramadol is an opioid drug which is very addictive. It's very popular with drug addicts. At Zain's workplace, a school bus passes every day. Children chats about exams and school. But Zain could only push a cart that is heavier than himself to deliver goods. He wants to enroll himself in school, but his parents scoff at it. One day, Zain finds blood on his sister's sheets. He quickly helps his sister cleaned up, and also gives his own clothes to her. If his parents find out that his sister has grown up, they will definitely sell her. Here, girls have no choice and usually are married around the age of 11. But truth will come to light eventually, when Zain returns home that day, finding the landlord's son sitting in the living room already. And his sister is wearing the most decent clothes with heavy makeups, sitting aside and preparing to accept. Zain is so angry that he wants to stop them, but he is pushed back by his mother. Although his parents never mentioned his sister's marriage, but Zain knew that his sister would be forced to get married soon. His parents would never dare to say no to the landlord. Even in their opinions, marrying his sister is also good for her. So Zain decides to escape with his sister. He steals money from home, then quietly packs the luggage and some food. But when everything is ready, it's too late. His sister is begging. His mother threatens, "If you dare to come back, I'll kill you." Then she grabs his sister's hair and drags her down the stairs. Zain tries his best to stop her. But how could he defeat his mother? Zain is beaten violently by his mom. He can only watch his sister being sent away. Her cries break Zain's heart. The pain that has been suppressed for a long time completely explodes at that moment. He breaks free from his mother, gets on a bus and escapes from that hellish home. The cold sunshine slowly climbs onto his face. The sadness in his eyes has nowhere to hide. Then Zain comes to a playground. He sits on the Ferris wheel and slowly merges into the sky. The rising sun is hidden in the clouds. The sea water seems like a pale face. Zain's eyes are red with tears. In order to survive, Zain has to go out and find a job. It's at this time that he meets Rahel. Rahel is an Ethiopian immigrant, also unregistered in Lebanon, so she can't register for her son, Jonas. In order not to be caught, she has to hide around with her child. Jonas is too young to stay at home alone. Rahel can only hide him in the bathroom where she works. Breastfeeds him during her breaks. Before going out every day, she needs to put a mole on her face. That's what she looks like on the fake identity. She must be ready for inspection at any time. Aspro helped Rahel for her fake identity. He has been persuading Rahel to sell her baby to a good family. But Rahel firmly refuses, because no one would buy a baby who can't work yet. Zain has nowhere to go. He is desperate. He can only ask for help from Rahel. Maybe it's because they feel the same suffering. Rahel takes Zain back to his humble cabin. She gives Zain and Jonas a bath, cooks and asks Zain to stay here temporarily. While Rahel going out to work during the day, Zain takes care of Jonas at home. At first, Rahel is wary of Zain. She would secretly hide the money while Zain is sleeping. But she gradually discovers that Zain's heart is in the right place. Also, he is nice to Jonas. Soon Zain and Jonas become close. Every time returning home, Rahel could see the two children sleeping together, which is adorable and heart-warming. She would bring back leftover from the restaurant for her two children. 3 people sitting at the table talking and laughing. Under the dim light, their smiles are so bright. But the brief warmth cannot resist the freezing night. Rahil's fake ID is expired, needs $1,500 to get a new one. But she doesn't have so much money, so Aspro brings up selling her child again. He says you should just treat your son as he was never born. Even ketchup has a legal name, having production and expiration date. But your child is living a fugitive life, hides underground, can't see the sun, can't go to school either. I suggest you to give him a home, that way you can still visit him from time to time. His word stings, Rahil. She couldn't bear to let her child suffer. But she can't bear to sell the child either. No matter how difficult it is, she wants to be with her child. On month end, Rahil's salary is not paid on time. She asks for help, but no one wants to lend a hand. Rahil is desperate. So she comes to a barber shop, reluctantly sells her long hair. Just when she is about to have enough money, Rahil is put in jail. All her belongings are handed over. She couldn't even tell Zain that she would never come back. Zain knows they're on their own now. He holds Jonas tightly with his slender arms, staggering on the street. He finally gets to Aspro. But Aspro doesn't know where is his mom either. On the street, Zain encounters a Syrian girl named Mazen in the souk. She looks smart and capable. With such a young age, she has already mastered the surviving rules. The two quickly becomes friends. In order to survive, Zain has to sell everything he has. But every time he meets Mazen, she can always carry trinkets she picked up from nowhere and sell them. Mazen tells Zain, when she gets rich, she will definitely leave this country. She wants to go to Sweden. She heard there are Syrians everywhere. No one will ask you where you are from. There won't be any threats, and the children there won't die in the war. Her words arouses Zain's yearning. He also wants to go to that dreamy country. Mazen says you need at least $300 to go to Sweden. Then she gives Zain Aspro's phone number. Aspro will arrange the itinerary for them. Girl draws a boat next to Aspro's number. The boat carrying the children's dreams stays quietly on the paper, just waiting to be able to sail one day. Mazen also teaches Zain how to pretend to be a Syrian and go to receive emergency supplies. Zain successfully brings back a large bucket of milk powder and some diapers for Jonas. Then two children sit on the roadside chewing dry milk powder. Vehicles passing by at high speed. It's like this era of this rapid world. No one would look at them at all. Every time, no matter what Zain brings, Aspro would take it all. It only takes one look for him to know that these two children are now on the verge of collapse. But he's not doing it out of kindness. He just wants Zain to sell Jonas to him. Just when Zain asks Aspro about going to Sweden, Aspro takes the opportunity to tell Zain. He already discussed this with Rahil. Rahil is also willing to find a good home for her child. He can be sold for $500. It's enough for Zain to go anywhere. But Zain doesn't know the answer yet. His heart is still struggling. Returning home, Zain digs in his clothes and finds out the receipt he tricked for drugs before. He decides to give it a try and make some tramadol water for cash. But Rahil's house has been cut off from water supply. What comes out of the faucet is some unknown brown liquid. Zain then has to use seawater and sell it. Fortunately, those addicts are not too picky. Many addicts are still willing to spend some money for that. With such a way to make money, Zain's life finally becomes better. If he keeps selling these for a period of time, he will soon be able to take Jonas to Sweden. He says to Jonas, let's go to Sweden when we have enough money. That's the most beautiful place. We can also take Mazen with us. He says this with a happy smile on his face. Until now, he finally feels a tiny warmth of sunlight of the world. But this situation doesn't last long. Zain's business is soon destroyed by addicts. They takes all the tramadol and beat Zain up. In this slum, Zain has to take Jonas away with frustration. What's worse, when Zain returns home with Jonas, they find that their luggage was thrown out by the landlord. The door has also been replaced, but all the money Zain earned these days are still locked in the room. Zain curses the landlord in despair and anger. He tries to open the lock, but fails. He yells desperately, I want money. I want that damn money. Hammer after hammer, one after another, repeatedly. His voice is eventually swallowed up by the slum. Two homeless children sitting on the roadside, looking at Jonas who is waiting for food. Zain is on the verge of a mental breakdown. He has lost all his money. Feeding himself is gonna be a problem, not to mention raising a child at the same time. After struggling for a long time, he restrains one of Jonas' legs with a rope, then observe him secretly from distance. Watching Jonas crawling around on the street, Zain struggles for a long time. In the end, he returns to Jonas, taking him on the bus to the market. Eventually, he sells Jonas to Aspro. Aspro asks Zain to go home and get his identity, then he can arrange him going to Sweden. Zain listens in silence. Tears keep coming down. He feels helpless, like a homeless puppy. Before leaving, Zain kisses Jonas' little face. Jonas looks at him with flashing eyes. He doesn't even know what it all means. Zain returns to his familiar home. Nothing has changed here. Dirty, chaotic, depressing. When her mother sees Zain coming back, she beats him up without saying anything. As soon as his father hears that he wants his identity, he roughly drags him to the cabinet. He throws out a pile of papers. There is an eviction notice, a hospital bill, but no legal proof of his existence. Any paper here can send a whole family to jail. Suddenly, he becomes violent and impatient again. He throws Zain out of the room like garbage, saying no matter who sent you, go back to where you came from. Listening to Dad's words, Zain suddenly feels something is wrong. Has anyone in our family gone to the hospital? Whose hospital bill is that? Then his parents become speechless and sad. Zain asks again and again, but the only sound in the room is his mother sobbing. Finally, his dad says that your sister is dead. It's all over. She got pregnant not long after her marriage. Everything was normal at first, then she started bleeding heavily. We sent her to the hospital, but because she did not have a valid identity, the hospital refused to accept her. In the end, she died at the door of the hospital due to blood loss. Listening to the horrible news, Zain can no longer control himself. He takes a knife, rushing out like crazy. He runs all the way to the landlord's home, stabbing the landlord's son. Then he is put in jail. Soon his mother comes to visit him. She brings some candies to Zain. Mom asks Zain why you hate me so much. Your sister is also my daughter. Her death also breaks my heart, but I can't help it. Zain interrupts her coldly. What are you doing here? Mom says she is pregnant again. Soon, Zain will have a brother or sister. Suddenly, Zain's eyes are filled with tears. He says calmly, you are such a monster. I don't want to see you anymore. After saying goodbye, he throws the candies into the trash can and leaves without looking back. In jail, Zain saw a TV show. They will help people solving various problems. Zain has been struggled for a long time, then dials the phone number. Zain's voice spreads out on television. He says calmly, I want to sue my parents. I hope those who can't afford to raise their children stop giving birth anymore. I only remember violent insults and beatings. Chains, tubes, and belts. Life is a pile of shit. Cheaper than my shoes. I feel like I'm living in hell. I'm like a pile of rotten meat. Life is a bitch. I thought we could be good people, loved by everyone. But God doesn't want us to be like this. He'd rather us to be dishwashers. Soon after, Zain appears in court. His parents sit in the opposite. At the beginning, when everyone hears that this little boy is going to sue his parents, there are always bursts of laughter from behind. But when Zain finishes the whole story, everyone is silent. Zain's parents keep defending themselves. They also have endless grievances and endless suffering. They can only complain about the unfairness of life. Zain stares at his mother and says word by word, the baby you carry will be like me. Then the judge asks Zain, what do you want your parents to do? Zain says I just hope they don't give birth again. The judge approves Zain's request. Then Zain asks, what about the baby in her mother's belly now? They still have to give birth, right? This time no one can answer Zain's question. After the court adjourns, the judge puts the files into the archives. Piles and piles of scrolls look like huge mountains. Where is Zain's case now? After Aspro is arrested, Jonas is rescued. Rahel holds her child tightly in her arms. She falls to her knees, crying like another baby. Zain finally gets his first identity card. He slowly reveals a smile while taking pictures. Life left too much darkness in his eyes. But this moment, his smile is like warm sunshine shining into this hopeless slum. Home is a 2018 film directed by Nadim Labaki. This film brings us back to the cruel reality. In this wonderful world of ours, there are still people struggling in hell. Zain said, I thought we could be good people, can be loved by everyone. But God doesn't think so. When they no longer believe in God, how can you trust this world? After watching the movie, we might initially be angry at Zain's parents. But think about it carefully, they are also victims of the system. Their lives are also struggling in darkness. The more you give birth, the poorer you become, then the more you give birth again. This loop is so powerful, they can never break it by themselves. They just want to change their destiny through their children. In their opinions, boys can work, girls can change for money. So here is the question. Is the problem solved after rescuing Zain? Can this situation be alleviated by punishing Zain's parents? I think the purpose of making this movie is not just condemning ignorant parents, but to remind everyone something is wrong with our world. I believe some movies are like bright sunshine, being able to shine into dark corners. Will our world get better and better? I believe it will. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.